What is happening? I am back. It is I, El Capitan. I am running it on the other side now. That lagging is for the birds. Gonna have to do some other stuff. But yes, I am live. Let me know in the comments how it looks. It is the Finns tailgate. I am back. I have been slumbering, watching, seeing all the nonsense with the Dolphins. I've been paying attention. And it's some sad stuff. But before we get into, thank you, Scrappy. Before we get into all that, make sure you guys on your way in are hitting the like button and subscribing if you are new. And we're going to get right into everything here directly.
Turner Yell makes the stop in the secondary for Denver. 1st and 10. The fake. Good. Block in there, and down it goes. Caught at the 30. This is the dynamic throw. He's in for 6. Tyreek Hill. Touchdown.
Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower, scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder, and f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off, it's these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it.
Yes. It is time to get into things. A lot's happened, been happening, continues to happen. Even things are happening right now. We're going to talk about it all. It's been a minute since I've come in and hosted a show, and I'm back. And I just, a lot of weird stuff, if you guys want to get into it. It's just this strange thing that continues to happen with the Dolphins. We can talk, dude. It does need more accountability, Cap. And there's a weird thing with that accountability. I've kind of been a Chris Greer guy, right? Like I've liked the trades and the contracts and all that stuff, but there's something else kind of brewing here that I'm starting to question. That I'm starting to think about with this Fangio stuff. And we're going to get into that. It's a contention of sadness right now for Dolphins fans. I mean, Fangio, he leaves us. He goes back to his ex-wife. We're the tainted mistress now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then Dolphins fans are out here like, well, no, he did a interview, and he would have been he always wanted the Eagles job. Da 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 da. Like that's supposed to make me feel better. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, oh, well, Fangio wasn't getting along with the players, wasn't getting along with the coaches, didn't fit the deal. Well, kind of think about what you got going on here, right? Fangio, old school, old cat, kind of set in his ways. Just comes here on a solo dolo, dog. He just comes here on a solo dolo. Then they bring in Desai, and okay, he's kind of got his whatever going on. Desai loses play calling abilities. Fangio is a stickler. He doesn't let his position coaches dictate. Listen, am I surprised by all that kind of stuff? Not really. But that doesn't make me feel better. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, fuck Fangio. He was a jerk. He didn't play well with others. Telling about the old-ass man that runs a great defense that, listen, if it was all... Here's a better thing, because how I'm hearing a lot of Dolphins players and, beat writers and, everybody from YouTube to Facebook to MySpace, right? All these things is that Fangio wouldn't let everybody get in on it. The buck stopped where Fangio, like, who plays, he says he plays. Cam Smith, I don't like him. Now, I don't know why he doesn't like Cam Smith personally. I there's probably something going on there. And I know me as a Dolphins fan wanted to see Cam Smith, but I don't know. Maybe the kid isn't getting it. I don't know. Now, there's players saying, "Oh, why aren't you playing Cam Smith?" And then there's the Eli Apple thing going on. He's a partier, and that's a guy that Fangio pounded the table for. Da 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 da. And yes, failures, but it's all like Fangio was everything on the defense. Well, I'm gonna say that for a guy who everything was on him on the defense, like it's being told to me, was the all play caller, everything. Defense, with all the injuries they took, did pretty good. They weren't a liability at the end of the year. Now, is that, productive going forward? Is that a part of the Miami Dolphins culture that they want to instill? Obviously not. And that's why the Dolphins let Fangio go. But to me, it's kind of weird. It's kind of just a whole weird circumstance. What's up, everybody in chat? Geraldo, Jack, Ryan, I see you, Michael K, Joe Wrist, Fred, somebody important. What's happening, everybody? Hit the like button, please, on your way in. It's been a minute since I've been up here doing some stuff, so please hit the like button. Let's get them up and make sure that the algorithm's helping a brother out. But, all these facts that are now coming out, we can call it smear campaign, because then we do have the counter argument where Ron Jaworski comes out and he's like, I've known Fangio since the 80s. He's such a good guy. He was a coach for free. It's this whole, it's so stupid, bro. Again, I get that, okay, he's with the Eagles. He's Fangio's boy. He's got to stand up for him. That whole thing. All right, fine. What's up, Bill? I see you over there, William Reynolds. I see all that. Okay, fine. I don't know, dude. It's just fine, right? Okay. Fangio, stick in the mud, one-way motherfucker. Ain't gonna work with this whole we are the Miami Dolphins gonna hold hands, kumbaya stuff they got kind of kicking. We're a progressive, empowering player football team that, all the way down to position coaches that Fangio didn't hire. He had to take on a coaching staff when he took this job. He had to take on a defense when he took this job. I guess, was Ramsey. I think we got Ramsey before him. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Anyhow, it's just a complete weird circumstance that is unfortunate all the time, right? Like us Dolphin fans, it's unfortunate for us. And now that I see everybody's throwing, their shit back and forth. Albert Breer is talking about stuff. Omar Kelly had stuff from the players. All this stuff back and forth with the fan man, Big Dick Fangio gone. and you know what? We were his whore. That's what y'all are saying. We're his whore. That he always wanted Philadelphia. Their marriage was kind of on the rocks. So we whored ourselves out to him for a year, only to then say, yeah, the defense that got massively injured and you didn't allow nobody to do anything with, that wasn't responsible for the late season collapse and why we, lost all the games we did and lost the division and lost in the playoffs. Wasn't the defense's fault. But you were just, you're the problem. Now that's where it runs. And now he goes back to his wife. So we've been nothing but the hoe. I don't like that. Like that, to me, the accountability lies with Chris Greer, But now I got to start asking myself, and we talked about this the other night on Shake's show, can Mike McDaniel build a defensive staff? I don't know. That's 2 different defensive coordinators. It's going to be the third one, 3 in 3 years. I saw Brian Flores do that same fucking algorithm, that same algorithm on offense. Problem is the defense played well and has played well. Really, what's going on late in the season, Mike McDaniel? What's going on late in the season? It's kind of odd. It's odd to me. And, again, this is saddening. It's saddening stuff, guys. That's the facts. Because here we are, Dolphin fans, and this is our plight. This is what we have to endure. And you know what else I'm noticing? Is it me, or is every single person outside of Staley and Frazier, every person that was a candidate for the Dolphins is getting hired by another team or promoted by their own team? I mean, Shula's grandson that's the latest one. I was like, oh, Chris Shula, can bring him in? Well, nah, I'd rather stay with the Rams or get elevated with the Rams. What does that even mean, elevated with the Rams? See the DC? Because if we were going to hire him as a DC, he was a linebackers coach. It's just weird. Like, are we missing our opportunities here? Why are people saying no to the Miami Dolphins? That's what it sounds like to me. People are saying no. They're saying, nah. And I got another point too. This no defensive coordinator. The job is getting slimmer for people that want it too. Because look, here's the first thing. You're a defensive coordinator, right? This team's got cap problems. You're going to lose pieces. And the first person, which, I mean, it's just probably going to go this way, you're going to lose pieces on the defense. We're not losing no pieces on the offense, right? We're not. Mike McDaniel ain't going to let that happen. They need to make the offense puts butts in the seats. So defense going to have to take a hit. Plus, who do we re-sign? Who do we not re-sign? Does Raekwon Davis come back? Do they figure a way to keep Christian Wilkins? Andrew Van Ginkel. What are we going to do? We have Bradley Chubb. He's going to be there for a while. When is Phillips going to be ready? Is he going to be ready by, after training camp for, week 1? Maybe, maybe not. We know that players, had some nasty things to say about the last defensive coordinator. Do you want to be a guy that takes a job where the players are going to shithouse you and the organization could shit kick you with the smear campaign? Is that why people are saying no to the Dolphins job? Are they? What's going on? Now, I also have another bit of a little rumor I heard. And listen, nobody's talking about this either. That's what's crazy. I figured by now, I heard this a couple days ago. I figured by now, somebody would have said something. The Dolphins very well may be eyeing this Jets situation with Saleh. Could you imagine if the Jets can Saleh? Like that's the boom boom wham bam thank you ma'am right there. That's who I would say bring in immediately is Saleh. There's a whole kind of clown show going on with New York. The fans are turning on him. Nathaniel Hackett with quotes, head scratching moves. I'm pretty sure you can go back to me predicting this situation that the Jets find themselves in with Saleh right now. That Rodgers goes down with injury, the season's a wash, and Rodgers and the Nathaniel Hackett campaign to make his buddy, which Rodgers is the buddy maker. Like he's all about his buddies. He gonna get his buddies on the team. He'll get you promoted. As long as you agree with Rodgers, he's your buddy. And Saleh is taking a beating right now. And could be Saleh finds himself late clipped. Or there's some kind of, rift. They say, listen, we think we're going to go in a different direction. And yeah, Saleh, ex-49er, there when, under Shanahan, right alongside Mike McDaniel on the opposite end. They know each other extremely well, have known each other for quite some time, and they know each other from being opponents. Just saying, I would love to bring Saleh over here. I like the defense they play. I think that would be great. But I don't think that's now. Listen, this is a rumor that I know that they're looking and eyeing at. But are they sitting on their hands because they know something? That's my speculation at this point. Because right now, to the untrained eye, to the people who don't know what I just told you, other than them sitting on their hands watching the Saleh situation, really, it's people are saying no. Dolphins are missing their opportunities. Now, I know the guy got hired in Seattle and from the Ravens and stuff like that, but, Dolphins tried to get the linebackers coach from the Bills. They elevate him to DC. Chris Greer and Stephen Ross ain't afraid to throw some money around. It don't count against cap. If they had a guy they thought they wanted, they believed in, they would get him. Look what they did with Fangio. Fangio didn't even want to be here. He let himself get whored out by whoring us. I'm just saying. So, Joe, I'm not even going to go through all the interview people who we did because there's still more to come. But put it this way. It seems like the next hot topic guy that the Dolphins are going to talk to, whether it's the Ravens guy, whether it's Chris Shula, whomever, immediately either after the Dolphins are connected to him and or the Dolphins have interviewed them, they are getting signed by somebody else. They are going somewhere else. They're getting elevated. They're just and this is bad for us as an organization for a couple of reasons too. And I'll tell you why. Because again, we are in a cap situation where we're going to need to make moves. Now, if the organization straight up just says we're going to get rid of these players and those players and stuff like that, what if this guy is integral to what this defensive coordinator wants to implement? What if they get rid of somebody that's a deal breaker for them? If they say, yeah, no, we're going to get rid of Xavier Howard, and the guy's like, well, listen, I needed Xavier Howard on my defense to do what I need to do. Can we afford to get rid of a guy like Xavier Howard right now, knowing that Bradley Chubb is injured? Jalen Phillips is probably going to have a slow start. He did this past season anyhow. What if Andrew Van Ginkel gets the bag somewhere and we ain't got him? I mean, yeah, okay, Cameron Good and these guys, not that we can't hold it down, but I don't know, man. I don't know. So, Vrabel would be cool. Listen, this promoting Anthony Campanelli, to me, guys, and I said this the other day, if the Dolphins sign Staley, which, God, I hate to even say this, I'm kind of going, all right, I'll be indifferent now to a Staley hire, which before I was looking at it in the same eye as internal promotion. If the Dolphins have an internal promotion, to me it means that nobody wanted to come. It's the same exact look that the Studsville Godsey fucking bullshit. It's the same bullshit. I get that maybe they won't have co-defensive guys, but I don't want to see that. I need someone that's got a game plan, knows how to use it, can do it, And then on the flip side, like Leslie Frazier, okay, I would take Leslie Frazier. I think he's great. I think would be great. I'd love to have that defense, but if he comes out and this defense is lights out, does he get a coaching job somewhere else and jump ship, and now it's a one-year rental again? I'm not interested in that. But do we also take the risk on the ladder going with an Anthony Campanelli, which there's this narrative that, he can invigorate the guys and yada, 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 but, I don't fucking know that. I don't know. Maybe those guys think that guy's a fucking dork for doing that. I don't know. I mean, again, maybe not. I don't. But, and if a defensive coordinator comes here, is it the same old with the Dolphins that, hey, here's our defensive staff. We need you to coordinate and be the play caller and deal with everything else we're going to provide for you? Do they have any pull? And that's kind of where I look at Chris Grier. Like, what the fuck's going on, dog? If this is failure, it's an anvil coming down on Chris Grier's head. Because everything, it's all his fingerprints. There's no weaseling out of this one, Chris Grier. There's not. Unless you make radical changes to then try to reinstate the timeline, you have ridden out the team and the vision since the beginning, and we're here now. You built the defense, you built the offense, you switched up coaches, you're switching up coordinators every friggin' year, opposite of whatever coach is your head coach's specialty. I mean, how much longer are we going to do this? Because I'll tell you what comes into the future right now. If the Dolphins hire a young up-and-comer or an unproven guy or a one-year rental or, Anthony Campanelli or one of these other guys internally takes the job, right? If it's a one-year failure or a one-year explosion and move on to something else, it's going to be we're really getting close to that. Oh, defense guys leaving, offense team didn't get successful. Is it time to make a change at head coach? And what comes after that? It's the overcorrection. Oh, we had the offensive genius. Now it's time to go with the defensive genius, and then the whole cycle starts all over again. It's just not what I'm interested in. Just not. So, I mean, listen, what are we going to do, Dolphins fans? It's a damned if you do and damned if you don't type of situation right now with the Fangio ordeal. And it saddens me because we've already got big enough problems. And, I'm not trying to shit on the offense or shit on Tua, but I'm getting out in front of this now. There was they just had the Pro Bowl games, right? And Tua did poorly. And I saw him miss throws I think he can make because he's a very accurate quarterback. But I also, and I get it, it's a game, it's whatever, but like, is it the nervousness? Is it the moments and stuff? I mean, look, watching him do it, I've got anxiety about it. You feel me? That's it. That's a high pressure deal. All this moving stuff, and you got to hit the targets and stuff. But like, I don't know, man. It really, all this talk about getting a defensive coordinator and injuries on the defense is taking the focus off of the failures of the season. And the failures of the season have nothing to do with defensive play calling and nothing to do with the injuries on defense. The failures of the season is simple, that the offense couldn't score anything, couldn't do nothing. And I feel like the entirety of the focus is getting lost on the real problem of the 2023-2024 season and its failures. And I don't want to see it just run it back. We ran it back this year. What are we talking about? We ran it back this year. And that offense was healthy. Healthy as it could ever be for, week one of the playoffs. Healthy as you could ever ask for. Is it play calling? Is it passing? Is it scheme? Is it us? Is it Mike McDaniel just getting out-schemed? Are you not good enough to beat the disguises? Is Tua not good enough at recognizing them? It's the real problems. And now, rather than us this offseason focus on the real problems of the failure of this season we just ended, we now created an entire slate of new problems by taking the one thing defensive coordinator and saying, yeah, we got these problems on offense we really need to figure out because we ain't going to do shit playing offense like that in the playoffs. Or defense did all right. But you know what? I'm just going to get rid of this head defensive coach here. And let's just try to figure out a whole new ordeal with the defense. Like, dude, that's frustrating, bro. It's frustrating, it's exhausting, and it sucks. Because I don't give a shit if Fangio was pissed off and didn't like players and, was sending love letters back to Philadelphia every friggin' week this next season. At least it wouldn't be something I had to figure out if the defense is performing. I don't give a shit. I don't care what goes on in the bickering in the back office. I get that it's context, and sometimes I'm going to talk about it. But it's America, damn it. This is a results-based freaking culture. And that's the real question. Is it the culture in Miami? Is it about results, or is it about everybody holding hands and getting along? Is that what it's about? It's about everybody liking each other. Is that what it's about? To me, it's about results. I think about the Jaguars who've had super ups and downs last year and the year after that. And I saw that post-game interview with Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence ain't all that great to me. I think he's a guy that gets lost, and I don't know. There's a lot of coaching that needs to happen with that guy. He's got a lot of the tools. But that post-game interview where he was pissed and he was upset and angry and he was like, this ain't never happened. Like, I'll be watching. But it's about results to me, and I think about, I look at all the teams that played in the AFC and NFC championship game, and those are guys that are battling, bro. They ain't worried about fucking who's not playing and who didn't get this and who likes who or wherever. I mean, they don't care about that stuff, dude. They're about, I mean, I'm sure it comes into the equation, but it's about results, man. And the lack of results we got at the end of the season from the offense is now overshadowed by the hole we now possess on defense. And that's the saddest reality that now we got to deal with. And meanwhile, we got a draft coming up. Do we draft if you're a defensive coordinator and you come to the Dolphins, has your draft already been, laid out for you? Is the draft over? It just sucks, man. It just sucks. And then there's other stuff that I haven't talked about, like the Tyreek Hill divorce paperwork that was real but denied and all that other stuff. That's just, like, well, I got to deal with that. I hate that their business is out there personally, and I hate not even talking about it. But, so much of, like, I want to get into the draft, and I will. I'm going to get into the draft because, I mean, listen, we got a first-round draft pick this year. Finally. It just seems like forever since we had a first-round draft pick. I'm going to be able to scout some guys, and, there's a lot of holes that are going to need to be filled on this team. But we're also thinking about cap. There's a lot of work, a lot of diligence that needs to be done on the cap for cutting guys or re-signing guys or whatever. And all that is hard. Like, what do you do with a guy like Agba, right? What do you do with a guy like Agba? Like, you cut him, you can get tons of money back. But Agba knows that. Agba in sparing use is all right, He knows he's not getting that money anywhere else. What money could he get? What money would he take to stay on the Dolphins? Does he want to stay on the Dolphins? you gonna replace him by cutting him while meanwhile you may lose Andrew Van Ginkel and you got Bradley Chubb down and you might not have Phillips in the beginning of the year? Who the fuck's your freaking edge rusher? Who's setting the edge on defense? Are you going to draft a guy? Well, where are you going to draft him? You draft him in the first round? You going to draft him in the second? Well, there's one of your top 2 picks. What about center? Do we re-sign Connor Williams? See how this circular argument goes round and round and round? And you know what makes it all the harder to deal with, to fathom, to figure out? Listen, G-Man, the Dolphin, Agba, yeah, he kind of sucks. He's not worth the money, that's for certain. I think we all can agree upon that. But what if he says, hey, I'll rework the whole deal and I'll make $4 million. I don't know. Make $4.5 million to stay on the Dolphins for the next 2 years. Next year, you can get rid of me. So it takes $9 million, and we're not on the hook for it next year, and only costs like $5 on the fucking cap this year. Whatever they could do. Again, get rid of Agba, but now you got to go and get somebody on the market. We brought tons of dudes in on the market. I mean, Ingram, Irving, all these guys. We want to get a 30-something-year-old guy. Well, what about everybody holding hands? What about Agba's hand? What about holding his hand? Isn't he part of the family too? See what I'm saying? And then again, what if all the free agent options or potential draft moves is not better than what you can now get Agba for if bringing him to the table? And what if this defensive coordinator walks in and says, fuck Agba, get him out of here. I can figure it out with Cameron Good. That's our guy. I like what Cameron Good. Or what if he's like, no, if you get rid of Agba, I can't do, we're fucked. And I get it, Agba's not freaking making or breaking. I'm just saying, like, all of this stuff. Meanwhile, right, they're saying they got rid of Fangio because he didn't work with the position coaches and players didn't like him and da-da-da-da. Well, how's the new defensive coordinator going to feel if the ability to say these players I want to keep or look at these guys in the draft or, whatever is taken away from him? Just a play caller. Now, maybe they can pitch the same buy and sell that Mike McDaniel got, but don't forget, Mike McDaniel brought all kinds of guys. Brought a ton of dudes to his offense. Built the whole coaching staff on offense. Yeah, we kept studs, but it's a round and round do-si-do of problems we find ourselves with. It's not boring, that's for sure. We got tons of stuff to talk about, and all these candidates, and I could break down all the profiles, and I probably will as time goes on. I just wanted to get back in the swing of things, and crazy Dolphin. That's how I'm scared of right there. It's just we can look at all these candidates and stuff like that. It's just, in the last couple of weeks since Fangio and Dolphins parted ways, it was an amicable divorce. It just seems like every candidate that's coming around, like that could be a hot button, or even the fans even are like, ooh. It's like, oh no, that guy got somewhere else. That guy went. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do all these freaking profiles and break news about a guy the Dolphins are looking at while the same fucking day he goes somewhere else. Now, is it the Dolphins getting played like they did in years prior, where like coaches would say, yeah, I'm going to interview the Dolphins, and they just did that to coaches, players. They just did that to get more and stay where they are. We were being used as the contract dummy. You know what I'm saying? Is that more of what's going on? Because I thought we were past that. Are we now, once upon a time, players would flirt with Miami to drive up the prices to stay where they are? Is that now turning into coaches? Is it? Is that now turning into a coach thing? I thought all the coaches want to be here. Look at this. Look at this treasure trove of talent you could potentially have. If you're a defensive guy, you got to look at that offense and go, man, oh man, I got such a good offense opposite side of my defense that if I can do this with these guys, we're going to be a damn good football team. Are they thinking that? And if they aren't, why? Why are they not? Is there something about the Dolphins organization that is having problems attracting qualified coaches? I mean, listen, it's unanimous amongst Dolphins fans now. Brian Flores is a bum. Was a bum. Was always a bum. His entire staff from defense to offense was bums. Right? So much so that last year, the year before this past season, the only problem with the whole team was the one holdover with Power and Boyer. Boyer's defense held the entire team back a season ago. Why are we hiring such bumps? Why are we hiring guys like Fangio that just don't get it? They're just not good communicators. They don't work well with others. I'm kind of epiphanizing myself right now as I'm cooking here. And I had said this a little bit back. Do the Miami Dolphins have an attitude problem? And because of that, is that the culture problem? Do we have a culture problem? There's been speculation as of recent that guys don't want to practice hard or care more about other things other than winning football games, winning big games, care about stats, care about the nightlife, care about the payday. But do they care about winning in the playoffs? Do they care about being the best? There's been on both sides argument. There's been beat writers say, There's been disgruntled coaches that come out and say differently. Now, think about that. The local beat writers have one story from the players that's not the case. They do care. They do see. They do care. But the coaches that leave say things about the culture, say things about accountability, say things about work ethic, say things about, just bad things. Because I just looked at a super talented team that if I was a defensive coordinator and Fangio left, I'd be like, bro, you're stupid. Like, this is the Dolphins. You get to live in Miami. Look at the talent that they had on that roster last year. Look at the talent on the team, right? Isn't that the unanimous decision, Dolphins fans? Isn't that what people would envy? Right? Why are we having a hard time hooking any fish right now? Why aren't they beating down our door? Yeah, Sea Devil. Okay, sure. Disgruntled coaches, right? And we get it. You break up with somebody, now it's the shit. Now you talk about all this stuff that you hated about them, Especially when you get the new. You sit there and talk bad on the exes. That's young puppy love shit, right? That's what people do. Well, that's what young people do. You get a little older, you learn some things, you learn not to be an asshole like that, and then you find a person and you kind of get married. Why are we constantly on the market? Why are we never we're always falling in love, but we're just never getting hitched, are we? Certainly ain't getting the ring, as Shake would say. It's a frustrating place to be as a fan, because this is all what I got to unpack. Fangio this, Fangio that. And I'm only getting, there's so a heavy lean in one side of the argument, right? People lean so heavy because and Dolphins fans lean so heavy in the defense of it because we never want to be wrong. Because when you have something that you love, right? You don't ever want it to disappoint you, especially when you have like a football team, or it's like kind of like being like a parent and a child, because your kids will disappoint you. You'll be upset about it, but you're always still going to love them, kind of like your football team. They disappoint the hell out of me. I hate them sometimes. I want to take the belt to them. You see what I'm saying? But I still love them, right? So you don't want to ever think your love is capable of being in the wrong. Meanwhile, you're angry at it for being in the wrong. But when something else, they get, your kid gets into a fight with their friend or somebody in school, you're like, that little fuck. You know what I'm saying? They did my kid like that. I don't think. Meanwhile, your kid's the little bastard kid. And Dolphins fans get caught in this thing. Your kid ain't never the bad kid. He didn't pull hair. He ain't a ruckus. He wasn't being an asshole. Or she. You guys don't ever want to look at the reality of the situation, that maybe it's the fucking organization. We can't hire good coaches. They don't want to be here. We have a commitment, accountability problem. We have a problem, and it seems like organization is just repeating it over and over again. Sea Devil, 2 seasons and 2 playoffs and no playoff victories, and by far, pound for pound, talent up and down. The hype and expectations for the Dolphins' current roster is the highest it's been in a couple decades, right? Are we in love with the feeling, or is this not a results-based thing? We got to detach ourselves from the things we love about this team and call it for what it is. This organization is failing us fans. And if it's anything like what the exiting coaches and the disgruntled employees say, it's a work ethic, culture, accountability problem. And that's from the head down. And when I look at teams, this isn't a non-disciplined team. It's not like we're, and it's funny too. You hear like non-disciplined teams, and that's for getting a bunch of flags. But in our minds, we're like, oh, these are a bunch of goofballs. They're non-disciplined. No, they're just fucking up and getting flags. They're non-disciplined in their techniques, and that's bad. You could still be not getting flags and still be a non-disciplined football team, where you let the, you let the players in totality. What is it? You let the inmates run the asylum in a way. And I think this is true. I think that this is a real problem. And it's no more evident than when shit hits the fan in big games and big moments later in the year against big teams. Because I'm looking for someone to step up and say, I'm the leader of this football team. Follow me. I'm going to win this. You want to see greatness? Keep your eyes on this. I don't see that out of somebody. I don't see it out of my coach. I don't see it out of my superstars. I don't see it out of my quarterbacks. I don't see it out of my, superstar guys. I see them making plays. And I get it. Oh, it's a hype guy, da-da-da-da. But we're talking about rise Phoenix from the ashes type stuff in these big games and these big moments. And that's kind of what you get when you have no true leadership. And for an old school guy like Fangio, and for a young, old school, state of mind kind of guy like Flores, which Flores to me too, he had a real whatever. I'm not even going to get into that. When there's no leadership, you try to be the leader. And if everyone's all kind of doing their own thing and there's no real leadership, it's kind of like, hey, everybody's kind of their own leaders. We're all leaders and we're going to lead together. Well, when you have that and there's time for someone to be held accountable for the fucking failures, everyone's like, well, I'm the leader every day, but when there's accountability, when there's something to be pissed off about, when it's my fault, well, wait, I thought I was leading. There's this freaking entitlement bullshit, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to come out and say it. It's this new AG type of thing, right? And I get it. We're progressive. We're changing with the times. Everybody love everybody. Fine, whatever. But you know who's winning Super Bowls? The son of a bitches that have leaders that say, yeah, you can be all fucking, that hand-holding shit's on other teams, homie. That bullshit where everyone's leader. No, you can be the leader of your own deal, but there's a pecking order up in this motherfucker, right? And that's because I've been getting this shit done. You get this shit done like how I do, then yeah, I'll follow you next, homie. But fuck you. I'm just saying. Look at the motherfucking Chiefs got true leadership from the coach, from the owners, from the GM, from the quarterback, from the fuck you. That's it. They got it. That's why they're winning. Where's the Dolphins? Where's my true leadership? Where is it? And I looked for it. I'm like, I feel like I was looking on the sidelines watching the game, watching those last couple of games. I'm like, who's gonna do it? I saw the defense step up, make plays. Who's it on offense? Who's gonna do it? Sucks, man. Sup, Nene? Sup, Bones? Hit the like button, everybody. Sup, Jamie? Who's gonna do it, guys? Mike McDaniel. You know what, though? This is a Chris Grier thing because Chris Grier, everybody wants to praise when it's something you were right about, Picking the right pick in the draft. It was a collective. But I really wanted so-and-so, right? I pounded the table. Well, so-and-so worked out. I want the praise. Well, the way this team is working with management from the owner to the GM, and the coaches are following suit, and the players are seeing and learning with their eyes too how to survive in a Miami Dolphins franchise and a culture. And I'm sure there's plenty of franchises that do this. It's just like everywhere else. Go along to get along, blend in. Don't try to be, the rah-rah guy or the killer guy, because then that's like, hey, fuck this guy. He's fucking it up for the rest of us. We got a good thing going here. I do what I need to do, and it's good enough. So the guys that are the rah-rah guys, they usually get shit talked about. The guys that want to be great, that want to, rise through the company or want to win a championship or want to be the best at whatever it is that you're fucking doing. Typically, those guys are hated. They're hated by a lot of people because they're like, oh man, these lazy fucks are like, you know, why can't I, you know, this guy's an asshole. You know, now he's making me look bad when we were all kind of doing our thing, just going along to get along. Now you're making us look bad. Right? So when the Dolphins make a pick, because everyone's kind of living in this go along, get along type of thing, or make a signing, or sign a coach, they collectively are like, yeah, that guy was a fucking problem. Or, you know, we picked this player and it was a collective and, you know, just didn't seem to work out. We're going in a different direction. We're trading away Noah Igbenogany. Or, luckily, they love the freaking pin. The last asshole that got out here last time, that was his mess. We tried to figure it out because, you know, whatever. We figured we'd give the guy a shot, or, you know, Boyer or Igbenogany or Joe Mama. You know, Joe Mama was really good. You know, we like him as a person. We just don't want to see him in the fucking building no more because it's an easy sacrificial lamb. Just figuring out ways to distract, to not have the problem be the actual thing looked at. Because again, to me, the failure of the team wasn't injuries, wasn't defense, it was offensive execution, particularly in the passing game. That's it, dude. That's it. Particularly in the passing game. Whether it's play calls, execution, I don't know. Why don't you fucking figure it out, Dolphins, rather than creating new distractions to hide? Stop hiding. The fuck? Have some nuts. If you went out and be like, man, we played like fucking shit, couldn't pass nothing, couldn't do nothing, got away from the run, blah, 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 this shit ain't, you know, just have some fucking stones about it. At least we can respect that. At least we can respect that. But you know what happens to the guy that says that? They're like, oh, man, I'm so glad this guy's standing out in front, because when the bullets start flying, they're first to get hit. Because the guy who starts crowing about accountability, they're like, yeah, accountability. Now it's time to be accountable because we didn't do our job. You're our leader. Well, bye. Rather than the organization finding leaders and seeing what the problems are, and them like, yeah, so-and-so ain't doing it. Then bringing them in. So what the fuck's your fucking problem? Eli Apple, who apparently is the party goer guy. What's your deal? You know? I don't know. Is he? Now, granted, listen, okay? This isn't a I wish Fangio was here. This isn't a bring me Fangio back. I love Fangio so much. Fuck Fangio. Give a shit about him. For reals. Like, I don't care. That guy ain't, I'm not losing sleep because he's gone. I'm losing sleep because I got problems that I didn't need to have. Whether or not they needed to happen, management, ownership, general manager, coach who's running this team, head coach, not coordinator, Mike McDaniel, head coach Mike McDaniel. Why did you all sign off on this, Fangio? Why did you all do that? Why was Fangio even here? And if you're going to promote Anthony Campanelli, why the fuck didn't you do it last year? If he was the rah-rah guy all this year. I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. I don't. What are we going to do? Now, I said this earlier before a lot of people got into here. Hit the like button, everybody. Little bit of rumor coming around on my end. I'm surprised nobody's mentioned it, talked about it, or anything like that. But the Dolphins are looking at the Jets and Robert Saleh situation intently, we'll say. Now, that being said, are they sitting on their hands waiting for that? Because if that doesn't happen, if Robert Saleh gets, one more go around and gets fired in week 6, for underperformance, and they do an interim head coach with Nathaniel Hackett and do the whole fucking charade. Anyhow, what are we going to do? We're going to wait forever for the Jets. Are the Dolphins tampering with Robert Saleh right now? I mean, look, apparently you could tamper. I mean, that's what Fangio and the Eagles are doing. I don't care. Tamper away. Fuck it. Just don't lose any more draft picks, for Christ's sake. I don't know. Like, sure. Listen, if Saleh ends up being the DC, I will look at that and I'll go, all right. That's how you fucking pull some shit off. I will be back again saying, you know what? Chris Greer knows what the hell he's doing. This was the plan all along. Fangio was the placeholder for Saleh to hopefully end up with the Dolphins. I'll turn a phrase, dog. I'll be back out in front, Dolphineer. I'll be the puppet for the franchise once again. But until that, all I'm looking at is people saying, nah, I'm going to stay where I'm at, or, they're using the Dolphins to get more money and head coaching jobs and shit like that. Because right now we ain't getting nothing. We ain't got nothing, bro. We got nothing. Yeah. Man, I'll be monitoring and reaching out to more of the sources on the Robert Saleh situation. So, but I still am upset because I feel like the focus really needs to be not finding a DC and then figuring out the cap and all that stuff, which, all right, figuring out the cap is going to be a pain in the neck. I think I'd rather be talking about right now what the Dolphins need to do to get better outside of getting healthier, and who are we going to add in the draft to make that happen, and who we could play around with the idea of all the cap casualties and reworks and stuff like that, because all that it ties together with your cap decisions, right? If the Dolphins re-sign Connor Williams and let Christian Wilkins go, that first-round draft pick is going to be defensive tackle. It's the first-round draft pick I've been saying since the jump. Now, I felt like they were going to get one this year no matter what. When they hired Fangio, I really thought, hey, Fangio is going to let Christian Wilkins walk. He's going to get that zero tech that he wants for this defense to really hum the way he wants to call it. Now, I don't know who my DC is, right? They signed Connor Williams and let Christian go. What type of athlete is the guy looking for to replace a Christian Wilkins? Does he say, I don't care who that guy is, give me Raekwon and he'll be that guy, and I'm more interested in a linebacker? It is a hot mess, Nene. Salute, Canes. Hit the like button, everybody. It's a lot. I want to move forward, but this entire defensive coordinator thing is hemming me up, dog. It's hemming me up. And I feel like the Dolphins are doing that to me on purpose. They're doing it to me on purpose, bro. They're hemming us up because they're, rather than giving us a couple of things that would require our focus, right? Problems with the team and why it failed this past season, how to fix them, and what's a good idea to fix them, whether it's draft or free agents, who do we re-sign, and then we can then make those deductions and then look at the draft. Right now, I have no idea what to think because I don't know. I mean, are we going in are we going to stick to this? I mean, I think they want to stick to this type of defensive scheme, even though apparently everybody hated it, right? But they want to keep this scheme, this zone 2 high, 4 high, whatever bullshit shell you want, the Fangio scheme, right? So they want to get a Saleh, or excuse me, not a Saleh. The Freudian slip there. Or Staley is what I meant to say. Or are they going to flip-flop? Are they going to get somebody completely different? I don't know. And because of all that, I don't know who's best to keep, who's best to not keep. I can't say here's so and so, and this is what they do on defense. Here's the players we have. How are they going to mix match, and which guys are obviously just not worth even keeping, right? Now, ideally, the Dolphins are in the first round, sliding back even to the second to pick up extra picks. I think it's a good year to try to get some interior guys. I like Butch Berry. I like the scheme that we're running with here on offense outside of the offensive line, especially in the run game. There's still a lot more I would appreciate to have in the passing game for a little bit more time in the pocket. I would hope that would be two of the first three draft picks in this year's coming draft. But if they lose, Andrew Van Ginkel, Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis, they cut Xavier Howard. You've now taken, they decide to cut Jerome Baker. You know what I'm saying? Or Jerome Baker's not who the guy wants. I mean, there's just so many dudes on defense that a new defensive coordinator could say, I want all new pieces. I want these pieces, whatever. It's just making my marble move. So it sucks, guys. It's a saddening place to be for Dolphins fans right now. Yeah, we had failure in the playoffs. Yeah, we lost out the division. Those are all things that I would rather be going into and dissecting and then figuring out what we can do or be better at. But no, that's not where our focus is. We are missing one of three coordinators and probably the most important of all three coordinators, because our head coach is an offensive play caller. We need a defensive play caller, designer, and somebody who hopefully is going to stick around longer than a year. It's exhausting. Exhausting. And Deuce saying Tua sucks. I mean, we haven't even talked about Tua and all of the implications that come with the cap, with the team, with the everything, right? Does Mike McDaniel even have a say on Tua? I just want to know that in chat. Does anyone think Mike McDaniel has a say on his quarterback? Right? And what I mean by that is that, say there's a guy in the draft, he's not going in the first round. Maybe he'd go in the second, but chances are he's not going in the second round. But third round, fourth round, and what Mike McDaniel likes about the guy is that it is a perfect pick. I mean, listen, Dak Prescott. Wasn't Dak Prescott in the fourth round? I'm not saying I like Dak Prescott, but I mean, the Brock Purdy's of the world, the Dak Prescotts of the world. There's plenty of quarterbacks that I think Mike McDaniel's an offensive guru. That's what I've been told. Does he have a quarterback that he loves in the middle rounds that he could go and get? And say, that's my guy. I want to pick that. Could he do something like that? Does he have that kind of free will? Could he say, hey, I want Jake Browning brought onto this team as a viable backup that, I mean, listen, Tua played all year healthy last year. God bless him. Good for him. Huge accomplishment in my eyes. I think it's paramount in when talking about whether or not you're going to pay the man or not. Now, there's all this talk about extend Tua, and you'll save money. Right? Dolphins got to really ask themselves, is that what they want to do? Do they ride out the 5th year? Do they need to see it for one more year? To me right now, if Tua won in the playoffs, this wouldn't be a question. Tua would be the first playoff winning Miami Dolphins quarterback in a fucking forever. Since Jay Fiedler. You're paying him. No one would disagree. Because no matter what the failures were, that would be second round in the playoffs, and we'll handle that then because we obviously won in the playoffs. If they'd have won the division and the playoffs, fuck, they'd have given the guy the moon and the stars. Dolphins fans around, myself included. Because if they'd have won, think about that. If they'd have won against the Bills and won it at home and won the division, then beat the Bills in the first round, it would have been amazing. It would have been great, but that's not what happened, did it? So because that's not what happened, and because of the performance, the 180 yards, and 1 touchdown, 1 interception, the piss-poor quarterback rating, the wins, the cold, we can talk about narratives. I hate those. I hate narratives like that, but it's not wrong. Can Tua win in the big moments? Can he beat the good teams? Well, no. I haven't seen it. Didn't see it with this great offense anyhow. You feel me? All reasons that you could say, well, I think you should ride out your 5th year. If the Dolphins say that, to Tua say no. Is there a hold-in? It's not uncommon. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. Shit, they do those weird hold-ins where they're there on the sidelines. I'm sick. I mean, it happens all the time. Lamar Jackson just did it the other year, didn't he? My point about all this is that there's a lot on the plate of management, and all of the decisions get so much harder now that we lost a defensive coordinator. You see what I'm saying? It's harder to sell to a defensive coordinator too. We are not sellers on this market. We are the big time buyers, and everybody who walks around knows it, and that sucks. It's just a rough situation. And we'll dissect every little last bit of the moves that are made. We'll give our opinions on, were they the right moves? Were they the wrong moves? Everything, all that stuff. Because I just foresee it not slowing down, right? At least it's not boring. But, yeah, guys. Figured I'd come in here, do a show. Expect to see me more and more. Damn, dude. I was really hoping to run this green screen and get this whole thing cooking, but this hardware is giving me a hard time. Don't worry, soon to come. In the coming of weeks, we're going to be rolling out some new stuff. I got some stuff coming in the mail in the next couple of weeks that's going to hook it all up. But guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Appreciate everybody. At the end of the video, in the comment sections, tell me, what are your main concerns right now with the Dolphins? Is it the offense? Is it the performance? Is it the fact that we fell apart at the end of the year? Is it now that we don't have a defensive coordinator? Is it the draft and we need to knock this draft out of the park or we're in trouble? Or is it, listen, we got to figure out this cap situation? Let me know in the comments at the end of the video. Hit the like button if you haven't, and we'll see you guys next time. Fins up.